Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are back with the market analysis for the month of May. I'm going to be looking at some specific items, general trends in the RuneScape market, and one topic I really wanted to discuss today is inflation. Now the topic of inflation gets discussed a lot when talking about the RuneScape marketplace. There seems to be this general consensus that everything in RuneScape is inflating. However, I read something pretty interesting the other day on the RuneScape forum. One of the 13 active users on the RuneScape forum posted something that was kind of interesting. He has been measuring the state of the RuneScape economy by tracking different indexes, kind of similar to how GE Tracker has the market index. And basically this user, Stretch 1028, has been tracking the inflation rate across a few different categories. So he's been tracking the weapons armor inflation rate, the skilling consumable inflation rate, the commonly traded inflation rate, and just a few different indexes. A score of 100 is the baseline. Less than 100 means the economy is in deflation. More than 100 means it's in a state of inflation. So he's been tracking it since October. Let's just look at the skilling consumable inflation rate. So in October, minus 1.61%. In November, minus 8.89%, December, minus 9.9%, January, minus 15.69%, February, minus 18%, March, minus 7, April, minus 5, May, minus 10. So these numbers seem to be indicating that the economy is actually deflating, which means your buying power is increasing. So for example, if you had 1 million GP in the bank, it would be worth more now than it was back in October. Now in general, inflation and deflation doesn't have the same impact that it would on a regular economy. For one, the resources in RuneScape are infinite. There is no finite resource. The only thing that really is bottlenecking these things is the rarity of these items. Now on GE Tracker, there is a similar index. GE Tracker is a sponsor of mine. If you're looking to support the channel in any way, signing up for the premium is an awesome way to do so. There will be a link in the description for that. Okay, let's have a look at some of these indexes here. First up, let's look at the general market index. So this is over the last year. So we started at 100, same thing. 100 point is a baseline value. Anything below it is deflation, anything above it, inflation. So January of last year, it was down to 84, inflating to its peak around September of 2018. And pretty much ever since the new year, things have been deflating back downwards. What's kind of interesting is the dual arena tax was implemented about here in August of 2018, and we see a pretty sharp decrease. And after that point, we actually see an increase in the index. So at that point, the price went from around the baseline, once again, of 100 up to 18 points above. And since then, it's been kind of slowly decreasing back downwards. So what do you guys think? Do you think the market's actually deflating? Do you think this information is irrelevant because it's RuneScape? Let me know what you guys think down below. Of course, as always, there can be a ton of different reasons for any of these market changes. These market indexes only have about 30 items in it, so it's definitely not 100% accurate, but it can give a general trend of the inflation rates or deflation rates of the RuneScape economy. Alright, so moving on, the next thing I wanted to talk about is the Mysterious Emblem. Now, we've seen a bit of activity on the Mysterious Emblem over the last couple months. For those who have maybe been watching Sir Pugger's videos, we can see pretty much when they were released. Mysterious Emblems are farmed by bots quite a lot because it can be very lucrative to do because you can get millions of GP per hour. The first one came out on April 23rd, and the price of the Mysterious Emblems were worth about 165. Now since then, Jagex, I think, banned some of the biggest farms, and that shot the price of Mysterious Emblems all the way up to 190. Since then, I think the farms have been remade because, again, they are very profitable and back down to 164. So you can see how just a few bot farms keep the price of Mysterious Emblems lower than they naturally would be. I think probably this is one of the next issues that everyone should focus the crab memes on. It's a pretty big problem, and the amount of money that people are making doing this is insane. And you barely need any requirements to set this up. It's a very low-level method and quite against the spirit of the game. Alright, let's have a quick look at some of those new items that came with the last Clue Scroll expansion. They are not trading very much yet still. The Third Age Druidic Staff, barely any have come into the game. If we have a look at the Druidic Staff on the RuneScape website, still barely any traded, like 2 yesterday. 1 3 days before that, like not many. Now it does show it's going for around 500 mil for the Druidic Staff. Honestly, a lot of these items still do not have many traded yet. For like the From the Kilt, not much going on here. It's still worth somewhere around 12 13 mil. which is pretty similar to what it was worth the last video I made back in late April. Or it really hasn't dropped much. I guess the rarity is really keeping the price up. Ranger tights have been slowly decreasing. Back in April it was worth around 10 mil, now we're already down to around 6.5 mil-ish. The spiked manacle is again something that I really thought was going to be worth more. It's gone from around 5 mil down to around 2.5 mil. All these items are most likely just going to continue to decrease in price as more come into the game. I think the shoulder parrot is the most expensive item for the free-to-play version of the Clue Scroll update. It was worth over 1 mil on the release date and a few days after that. Now it's worth around 350k. Not terribly surprised here. Unfortunately, the item is purely cosmetic, and a lot of people are going to be doing those beginner clue scrolls because it is accessible from free to play. Yeah, so it was at 1.3 mil around April 20th and is just slowly decreasing in price and probably will continue to do so until all these items are pretty much worthless. While we're on the subject, let's have a look at the Hill Giant Club. This is one of the more expensive free-to-play obtainable items. Yes, you can buy the Ring of Nature or the Ring of Coins in free-to-play, but I think this is one of the more expensive ones and has held its value for quite a while. However, that being said, it is down to around 500k, which is by far the cheapest it's been in a long time. Back in December, it was worth almost a mil and now about half that in price. Unfortunately, no item in free-to-play is meant to stay expensive for long. There are lots of bots in free-to-play and generally just a lot of players. Any money-making method will get nuked pretty quickly. Alright, now let's talk a little bit about bonds. Bonds are at almost an all-time high, I believe. Maybe they were up to 5 mil at some point in the past, but I think 5 mil is probably breaking some sort of record. I don't ever remember them being that expensive. So over the last quarter, we have definitely seen a notable increase. Back in February, they're only worth around 3 mil each, and they have been shooting up in price alarmingly quickly. In the last 3 months, it's gone from 3 mil up to 4.5 mil almost. Generally, this does follow a trend. We may see a small drop off in the summertime, but then from there, it's going to continue going up until December, and I think we're probably going to see an all-time high for the price of bonds sometime in October, November, or December. Now, some people might argue that this kind of proves that the economy is inflating because this kind of ties RuneScape GP to other world currencies. However, if we look at the amount traded, there are just generally more bonds bought in February or March over how many have been bought in May, for example. For example, back in February, there were around 9,400 bought, 9,400, 9,600, and in May we're looking at around 7,600, 7,400, 7,700, so like 20% less are being bought now, and same for being sold. So I think this is just more supply and demand than the price of RuneScape GP just being inflated. It's actually a surprisingly good time to cook sharks. Raw sharks being worth 640 and regular sharks being worth 788. Generally, the cost of those items are pretty similar, so training cooking right now actually may be somewhat profitable. Raw sharks have been decreasing pretty much since July, and pretty much the same thing for cooked sharks. However, they have consistently been worth about 150 GP to 200 GP more. And it's not really a market analysis video if we don't have a look at the Dragon Hunter crossbow. Wow, actually a big spike today, but the year to date is still showing that the Dragon Hunter crossbow is decreasing in price. While the Dragon Hunter crossbow did seem to be kind of stable around January at around 130, it is now slowly decreasing. So I am kind of excited for this item to become cheaper. It's kind of ridiculous how much this item has changed in price, and I do hope the next major piece of content doesn't rely on the Dragon Hunter crossbow. And my prediction is it won't. I think people have been complaining quite a bit about ranged being the major player when it comes to PVM and bossing. So I think the next major piece of content will either focus on melee most likely, or maybe even magic, not as likely though. And next up here we have the Dragon Hunter Lance, currently worth around 88 mil. Definitely a lot more affordable than the Dragon Hunter crossbow. However, over the last couple of months it has been decreasing in price. In March it was around 110 mil and now it's down to around 88 mil. Next up here we have the Scythe of Viter, which has held its spot as the most expensive item in old school RuneScape for quite a while now. However, it is kind of slowly decreasing down to the price of a Twisted Bow. If we have a look at the last 3 months, it peaked at around 1.5 bill and has now been slowly decreasing. We're actually down to 1.3 bill, so we're pretty quickly approaching the price of a Twisted Bow. And my prediction is that it will go below the Twisted Bow, as the Twisted Bow just has generally more uses for like stuff like Zulrah, raids, pretty much everything, honestly. The Twisted Bow is kind of OP. If we have a look at the most expensive items right now, yeah, it's a Scythe of Viter, Twisted Bow, Third Age Pickaxe, interestingly enough, the Elijah Spirit Shield, Third Age Druidic Cloak and the Druidic Staff, really don't know where they're at yet. And then we have most of the other Third Age items, and then it goes down from there. And last up here, let's have a quick look at the Twisted Bow. Was at an all-time low for the year in January, then kind of quickly increased back up to around 1.2 bill. But around April, we have seen a decrease in a lot of items prices, including the Twisted Bow, going down to around 1.1 mil and possibly decreasing further from there. Anyway guys, that is it for the video. So what do you think? Do you think the economy is deflating, inflating, you don't really care, or does it really even matter either way? Definitely let me know down below. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.